Jane Goodall, who chronicled the social lives of chimps, dies at 91. Cause of death and scary last words revealed, London, UK. The world has lost one of its greatest scientific pioneers and humanitarians. Dr. Jane Goodall, the trailblazing primatologist and conservationist who forever transformed humanity's understanding of chimpanzees, has died at the age of 91. Family members confirm that she passed away peacefully at her home in Bournemouth, England, on September 26, 2025. The cause of death was reported as natural causes related to complications from pneumonia. In a moment both poignant and unsettling, her family revealed that her final words, whispered in the presence of her closest loved ones, were, "The forest is calling, and I must follow." Those words, haunting yet fitting, now resonate across the globe, encapsulating the essence of a woman whose life was defined by her bond with the wild. Early life and childhood curiosity. Jane Morris Goodall was born on April 3, 1934, in London, England, into a modest family that nurtured her boundless curiosity. From an early age, she was fascinated by animals, often bringing worms and insects into her home and sketching the birds she saw in her garden. Her mother, Van, famously supported her unconventional interests, encouraging her rather than dismissing them as childish eccentricities. At just 1 year old, she was given a toy chimpanzee named Jubilee, a gift from her father. That stuffed chimp would foreshadow a destiny no one could have predicted. One that would take her deep into the forests of Africa and onto the pages of history. Though she lacked the funds for university, Goodall pursued secretarial work and later studied animal behavior informally, fueled by a relentless curiosity. It was this determination that eventually led her to Africa, and to the mentorship that would change everything. The breakthrough in Gombe. In 1960, at just 26 years old, Jane Goodall embarked on an expedition to Gombe Stream National Park in Tanzania, under the guidance of famed anthropologist Louis Leakey. What began as a modest research trip became one of the most groundbreaking scientific studies of the 20th century. Armed with patience, keen observation, and a profound respect for the animals, Goodall documented behaviors that stunned the scientific community. She witnessed chimpanzees making and using tools, stripping twigs to fish termites from mounds, a revelation that shattered the long-held belief that tool use was unique to humans. Her work revealed rich, complex social dynamics: cooperation, rivalry, affection, warfare, even mourning. Chimps, she showed, were not so different from us, not merely instinct-driven animals, but creatures with intelligence, culture, and emotion. Through Jane Goodall's eyes, wrote National Geographic in 1963, the chimpanzee ceased to be a specimen and became a neighbor. A new voice for conservation. Beyond her groundbreaking discoveries, Goodall became a tireless advocate for conservation. Distressed by deforestation, poaching, and habitat loss, she turned her attention from research to activism. In 1977, she founded the Jane Goodall Institute, which grew into a global network dedicated to protecting great apes and their habitats. In 1991, she launched the Roots and Shoots program, empowering young people in over 100 countries to take action on environmental and humanitarian issues. Goodall traveled more than 300 days a year, giving lectures and inspiring audiences from school children to heads of state. Her message was always clear. Every individual matters. Every individual has a role to play. Every individual makes a difference. Personal trials and triumphs. Goodall's personal life was as complex as the chimpanzee societies she studied. She married twice, first to Dutch photographer Baron Hugo van Lawick, with whom she had her only child, Hugo Eric Louis, Grub, and later to Tanzanian parliamentarian Derek Bryceson, who tragically died of cancer in 1980. Despite heartbreak and the strain of constant travel, Goodall remained grounded in her mission. Her relationships with family, friends, and colleagues reflected her deep compassion, patience, and unshakable sense of purpose. Cause of death and scary last words. Family members confirmed that Dr. Jane Goodall died after complications from pneumonia, an illness she had battled quietly in recent weeks. Though frail, she remained mentally sharp, still writing, dictating notes, and keeping in touch with her institute's leaders until her final days. Her final words, according to her son, were whispered in a voice half here, half already gone. "The forest is calling, and I must follow." Those close to her described the moment as eerie, yet strangely beautiful, as though she was already walking back into the jungle she loved so deeply. Global reactions and tributes. Tributes have poured in from across the world. The United Nations issued a statement calling her a guardian of the natural world, whose voice awakened generations to the urgency of conservation. Prince William, a longtime supporter of wildlife causes, praised her as a pioneer who showed us that our kinship with animals is undeniable. Environmental activists shared her words across social media, while scientists hailed her as a visionary who bridged the gap between research and compassion. From classrooms in Nairobi to villages in South America, vigils have been held in her memory. Students from the Roots and Shoots program gathered, candles in hand, reciting her mantra, "Together, we can. Together, we will." The legacy she leaves behind. Jane Goodall's legacy is monumental. Scientific impact. She redefined primatology, challenging anthropocentric views and proving that chimpanzees, our closest relatives, share behaviors once thought uniquely human. Conservation leadership. Her institute and global programs continue to protect wildlife, empower communities, and foster environmental stewardship. Cultural influence. She inspired documentaries, films, and countless books, bringing the beauty and complexity of chimpanzees into the public consciousness. Humanitarian work. Her commitment to education and grassroots movements positioned her not only as a scientist, but as a moral leader, remembering her humanity. For all her global fame, Goodall was known for her humility. She often credited her mother for supporting her dreams, her mentors for guiding her path, and the chimpanzees for teaching her patience and empathy. She lived simply, refusing luxury, often traveling economy class and eating vegetarian meals. Her ability to connect, whether with a child in a remote village or a head of state at the UN, came not from status, but from sincerity. Final reflection. Jane Goodall's death marks the end of an era in science and conservation, but her voice will echo for generations. She showed humanity not only what it means to study nature, but what it means to belong to it. Her final words, "The forest is calling, and I must follow," are both chilling and poetic, a reminder that she never truly left the wild she loved. In many ways, she has simply gone home.